and Clap podcast is brought to you by Age of Entropy Productions.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to the Slap and Clap podcast. I'm your host, Michael Kataszynski, and I'm joined by my good friend, AWildWaggs. He's part of our clan, and he plays with us in the Discord. So, Wags, why don't you introduce yourself to the audience? Tell us a little bit about yourself and just how I know you.
Yeah, my name's Andrew. I met you guys through the Destiny LFG Discord. Y'all took me through my first Deepstone Crypt, and then afterwards y'all invited me to the clan, so...
Mm-hmm. And that's typically how it goes. We just find really cool people to raid with, and we see potential in them, and then it just goes from there. It's really a great thing. So, what is it? So this podcast, like you've seen the podcast before, like we discussed earlier, that this is about video game culture and how it's typically looked at in a negative stereotype in society. So I'm just trying to relay how that's not the case in my experience. So I just got a few questions for you, Andrew. So the first question I got for you here is, how did you get introduced into video games?
Oh, man. Well, when I was really young, my dad had one of those old Atari. I think the one he had was this 2600, like one of the old school, like, first consoles. Yeah. So,
dang, that's pretty cool.
Yeah, some of the first games that I played were old school, like Asteroids, Pitfall, stuff like that. I'm trying to think of some of the other games, but yeah, so that's how I was kind of introduced. But like with my first real stuff was with like Pokemon Emerald and Legend of Zelda, all that.
You said the real stuff. You said you mentioned the statement, the real stuff. So what do you mean by that? What's different between those old school Atari games and then games like Ocarina of Time, Legend of Zelda, Pokemon Emerald, and all that?
Oh, I mean they're all real video games, but I guess what I was trying to say there is like those, like Legend of Zelda and Pokemon were really the first ones that I got deeply interested in. Like those other ones, I mean, they're older, so there's not a lot.
You just had a taste of it.
Yeah, and they're also fairly simple. And then I play, like, I remember one of the first ones was Ocarina of Time, Twilight Princess, and just being able to go all over the world, and it's like everything's not linear. If you want to go do something in the woods, on the other side of the map, you can do that, and the game doesn't limit you from that.
So you're saying more in depth is what you're talking about. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
More complex. I greatly prefer games that allow the player to choose what they want to do, and it's not like the game is kind of nudging you in what direction you need to go.
I agree.
Because like with Destiny, when I first started playing Destiny back in, I unfortunately I wasn't one of the, alpha beta people, but I got it, I think, like 2 days after it came out. And I don't think I did a strike, or I don't think I did a raid in Destiny until like right before the House of Wolves came out. But I just loved public events and strikes and just
all the good stuff.
It fascinated me. Yeah, it fascinated me that I could go to this public place and there are other people there, like other real
just
players.
Random people, yep.
Yeah, just random people, people probably from halfway around the world. It just amazed me.
Oh yeah. That was really cool. Definitely the good stuff in Destiny. That's where I see a lot of entertainment. It's a really complex game, and just the social interactions you have with people are, immaculate. it can't get better than that. You just run around and
No,
blow
not
stuff
really.
up and laugh with your friends. Like it's so cool. So yeah.
Yeah.
So speaking of positive experiences we have with video games, what's a positive experience that you've had personally with video games?
I mean, people like you guys, like your clan. Well, I guess I'm a part of the clan now, so
Yeah.
our clan. But just people that go out of their way to help.
Oh yeah.
Just anyone and everyone. People who don't make such a big deal out of everything. Like if you mess up, they don't,
Exactly.
talk down to you, crap on you for it, or anything like that. And most of the time, they'll try and help you through what you did wrong, or
Yeah.
if it was just a mistake, they're brush it off and
100%.
just not make a big deal out of things.
Exactly. We're here to have a fun time, and that's just part of it. Just understanding,
Yeah,
that
just
it's your first time in here. No big deal. No big deal if you mess up.
yeah.
Like we understand.
Everyone
Everybody's been
everyone
there.
should just be there to relax and have fun, and we're not trying out for esports teams. It's a raid or a dungeon or whatever.
Yeah,
It's
we're just
not
messing
that big of
around.
a deal.
We're just messing around. So okay, cool. So another question I got for you, man, is the opposite of that. What's a negative experience you've had with video games?
Oh man, there's been too many.
Too many?
I mean, really, it's
Sorry
just
to hear, dude.
it's the people who think that for some reason or another that they're superior to other people that they're playing with, and that they constantly try and prove how much better than you that they are.
Yeah.
Like I think we talked about it. One of the first times I did Deep Zone with you guys was the old school D1 LFGs where it's like must have Gallahorn, must have
Yeah.
500 light, must be a shareholder in Bungie. It's like, is there anyone that's actually able to meet those requirements?
Uh-huh.
Like, it's a game, and it
Mm.
just part of me, like, I get,
I
there has to be
understand why
some
people
amount
want that.
of requirement or
Knowledge of the game.
prerequisites.
Like
Yeah,
a basic
but it's like,
knowledge. Yeah.
I don't like it when people just instantly disqualify someone from something because they aren't able to, I don't know, they're not able to constantly play the game, or they just don't have good luck. Or I mean, one of the big things with me was for the longest time I didn't have anyone that I played with.
Yeah.
So a lot of those things that required a fire team
Cooperative
or
gameplay.
yeah, especially once I moved over to PC, I believe like you guys, I started on Xbox. So once I moved to PC, I left my entire old clan that I was one of the starters of.
Yeah.
And, now luckily I have 2 to 3 other people that I am like good friends with, like that I went to high school with. And then obviously you guys that I can do stuff like that with, but like whenever, like with Outbreak, when that mission first came out, or like Whisper, I never had anyone to do that stuff with. And then every time I'd look for LFGs, there are people like, you must know what to do, have to know how to do this blindfolded, and it's like,
and I can understand where some of those people are coming from, where they want you to have a certain amount of things because they want their run to go smooth and easy, but some people don't understand is that with simple instruction you can achieve the same results if you had somebody who was quote unquote experienced and had the arsenal you wanted. If you just said, hey, do this to somebody new and they do it.
One of the things with me is like, I could probably watch 10 videos explaining how to do it, but what's going to be a lot easier for me is just going in and doing it with someone so that I can see firsthand, like, that's what you do, that's what you don't do, and that I'll learn. Like, that makes it so much easier to learn than watching someone else online do it, and maybe there are parts that they didn't even
and that's
think to explain.
Yeah, that's just a common practice with learning in general. Is listening and hearing something is a completely different other thing than actually doing it, and some people don't realize that, but it's very important. So cool. So you just said the focusing on the negative part of video games. You say it's just the people who think that they're superior and want these ridiculous requirements so their run can go smoothly or whatever they're doing.
Just how I just don't understand why some people decide that it's because they, like I said, they have some exotic or they have some weapon that they automatically are a better player or better at the game
or
than
some kind of
else.
knowledge that somebody else doesn't have.
Yeah, like it just that one doesn't really make sense to me, and it's not contributing to the betterment of the gaming community or the game itself.
And if you look at it, dude, it's just a game. Yeah, it's nothing to get too serious about. I don't know why you're getting all stressed out. Calm down.
It's not that big of a deal.
Yeah, so we're just trying to have fun, and we just don't want people ruining our fun. Yeah, cool. What would you say to people who think that video games are only a negative part of society?
I would have them play. I would tell them to play video games.
Tell them to play video games. Okay. Like what kind of video games?
I mean, if we're talking about GTA, that's that's a fairly negative video game. That's all about drugs and killing people and all that.
Yeah.
But I mean, there are vastly more games that are. I mean, like Animal Crossing. I love Animal Crossing.
Yeah, Animal Crossing's great. I haven't played
lately. I mean, I've been playing Valheim lately.
Love Valheim. Dude, do you know we have a clan server? Did you know that?
Do we?
Well, yeah, we do. I'll have to invite you to it after this. We should play after this. So, yeah.
But yeah, like it's so calming. Like it's a beautiful game.
Oh yeah.
I mean, and that's also it kind of depends on like the player too, because like if you're a pretty laid back player, the game's going to be fairly laid back. But if you're constantly making the game difficult, then that would make it a little more difficult maybe.
Yeah.
But I mean, I think that a lot of where the negativity comes from is people not understanding what's going on in the games, or just misconceptions that they've had previously, that they're in a mindset where they're saying that there's no way that a video game could have any positive outcome, that everything around video games is always negative.
They just shut it out. Yeah.
Yeah, because look what games have done.
Games have done positive things,
Yeah, there are people who probably bored out of their minds and everyday jobs, and now they get to play video games for money.
Besides being an entertainer and obviously developing the game and everything, it's helped people with learning, spatial awareness, and in our case, just a community of friends that we can just hang out and have fun with. Like, how is that a bad thing?
I mean, I've seen stories of people who've said that they had hard times talking to people or talking to groups of people, and through video games, they were able to come out of their shell or be able to conquer some of that anxiety of talking to people. And I mean, it's just like, I feel a lot of times when people are just instantly discounting video games, it's from people who do not play them or have only played the GTAs.
They only know of the violent outliers kind of
the Call of Duties, and they don't know about Stardew Valley or Sea of Thieves and Valheim and
like Uno's a video game, like it's not just blow stuff up and it's
and
more
it's
than
like
just that.
Also, I mean, coming from because I'm a filmmaker, so and I'm
Oh,
going to
okay.
film school.
Nice.
So one of the reasons that Destiny caught my eye big time was the story.
Yeah.
Like the writing and the story and the lore. Oh my gosh, like it just entranced me the first time I saw it. And like I
Oh
remember
yeah.
seeing Bife's the whole story of Destiny, and I mean I listened to that, it's like a 4 hour long video, but I listen to that like once a month just because it's so good, and they're complex stories, and it's
Yeah.
not everything is black and
And
white, and
and
it's
you think about all
just
these stories, right? And you're like, how can that just come from a video game? But it's the people that
yeah,
develop the game that care so much about it that they went into that much detail with their story. That they have so much
exactly.
fun
And
with the game that they went above and beyond, just making it.
yeah, and I mean, I would say video games are probably the pinnacle of all art forms, because it's
Mm-hmm.
like you got your sound mixing, your animation, your
You got a lot of
writing,
different
your
things coming together, yeah.
all of this stuff coming together, and it in most cases I would say it makes something that is really a culmination of one, just all the people who made its passion, because
Mm-hmm.
I can't imagine everyone at Bungie hates Destiny and have been working on it for what,
Yeah,
eight
right?
years
Yeah.
now. Like I
Yeah.
can't imagine that they go into
Uh-huh.
work and are just like, ugh, I gotta go through this crap again today.
They probably jump in there and just have this fiery passion
Yeah.
to make an awesome game, dude. Like
And
every
it
day.
it
That's super
probably
cool.
it probably helps them knowing that there are people out there who
Oh yeah.
absolutely love what they're putting out.
Oh
And
yeah.
for some people, the game has changed people's lives. And, maybe they see in their characters that they make, somebody can see themselves in that character,
Wasn't
and it
there
makes
a
them happy.
wasn't there a wasn't there like some kind of story about a marriage proposal that happened in Destiny 1 and they made didn't they make didn't they make a weapon
Yes,
for only like one
they
person in the game ever?
yes, yeah.
They did both
Well,
those things.
they've done that twice.
Oh, they've
Yeah.
done that twice now.
So
Okay.
there was one, I think the marriage proposal was like the guy reached out and they made a blue weapon or something, that the name of the weapon was something like "Till the End of Time," and the description was like "Will you marry me?" Um,
Aw.
and then there was the one guy who, I believe he had cancer or something, and he got, I think now it's
The
um
No Time to Explain, or
the No Time to Explain, but at the time it was called Fate of All Fools.
mm-hmm.
Um, and that I can never remember if he ended up passing away, but that guy is the only person to ever have the Fate of All Fools.
Yeah,
Which, I mean, that just the fact that they,
went out of their way to
one,
do that.
someone there saw the story
Mm-hmm.
and they were moved by it, and two, that they thought that his story was moving enough to go out of their way, because I can't imagine that was a quick thing.
Yeah,
They
I would.
had to figure out a way to make this gun only available to one person,
Mm-hmm.
but that probably changed his life, or at
Oh yeah,
least made the rest of his life a little easier
to know that you're
or
the
better.
only person to possess this thing in the game, that's
Yeah.
huge. Like
Of the I can never remember how many people are playing
mm-hmm.
Destiny, like
Especially
hundreds of
back then,
thousands of people.
yeah.
Yeah.
There's definitely,
Yeah.
in my opinion, there's more positives that outweigh the negatives of video games. So,
Yeah, and if you always look at the negatives, you're always going to find them.
mm-hmm.
But if you choose to look at the positives, you're going to see a lot more than you're expecting.
Yeah, definitely expect the unexpected when it comes to just anything. So
Exactly. Yeah.
cool. All right. It's a good segue here. So, where do you see the future of video gaming? Where do you think
Ooh.
it's gonna go? Anything just far out that you can just like that you've been dreaming of, or just anything?
I mean, it'd be really cool to see stuff like Ready Player One. I mean, we're somewhat there with VR, but the feedback suits that you feel, everything that happens in the game, and
There's
the
limitations still.
yeah, and then like the omnidirectional treadmills, which I know there are people working on those for gaming. Um, I mean, I guess it really just depends on how far technology can advance,
Mm-hmm.
because that's really the limitation is,
Just how far the
what.
human race can take it. You know,
Yeah, I mean, I think as
new
far as everyone
discoveries and
the
inventions and
yeah,
yeah.
but I mean, really VR is probably, and I think that's what Eggroll said on the last one was
Mm-hmm.
just VR is probably going to be where everything ends up going, because that's just a whole nother level of immersion.
Oh yeah,
Is being
absolutely.
able to feel like you're in the video game.
It doesn't get more immersive than that, for sure.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Unless we're getting put in comas and experiencing video games,
Yeah,
but
some Matrix
that
type
probably
stuff.
would never happen.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Well, it could happen. It could be happening right now. You could be in a simulation, you never know it. But that's some
I mean, that's very true.
yeah. That's just some far out of science fiction stuff. But um, the more advanced video gaming is in the technology side, the more advanced it's going to be in the societal side as well. Um,
Yeah.
both through virtual reality, because we've talked about this in many podcasts. It's just one of the big things that's just brought up is virtual reality right off the bat. Where's the future of video gaming going? Virtual reality, being immersed into the video game. So yeah, it's just really interesting that a lot of people just immediately go to that right away. I think it's just
Yeah.
and
I
it's
mean,
true. And it's true.
one of the other ones, and I think Bungie's done a couple of them, but like ARGs, where it's like
Not
the real
familiar.
world, alternate reality games, um, but they did it with like that's how the original Outbreak. I think back then it was Outbreak Prime.
Okay.
Got people figured it out, and then
Oh yeah.
um, I
I
think they
understand what
did
you
it
mean.
for Warmind as well. But it's like most of the time I believe it's just been websites where people they somehow find the URL in something, and
Mm-hmm.
they go to it, and it's some sort of code, and they've got to break it down. And
And then there's some loot box in real life that they go to, and
yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that's what they did with I think it was in the Warmind expansion, was they had the final like piece of information that you got from the game,
mm-hmm.
or the ARG that you did, was the coordinates, and it was a little box full of these gold Warmind coins, and then the first dude who found it got a life-size Valkyrie spear.
That's pretty sweet.
But like that stuff is really cool. I think
Yeah.
unfortunately, that's not really for the casual gamer, but for the people who spend hours a day on it. That's a little cool kind of secret mission in real life for them to do.
Yeah. But man, virtual reality, that's gonna be the virtual reality headset I got is just it's not working for my laptop, so I had to get another one. But that's
Yeah,
kind of a bummer
I
on my end.
unfortunately I just got one too, and it wasn't working for my
Oh
computer
really?
either.
Oh
So
man.
yeah.
Yeah. Can't wait to get our headsets going. But yeah, but with video games in general, there's positives and negatives, similar to how people behave in society, and that's obviously portrayed through video
Yeah.
games with the interactions you meet with people. And we just want to make light that the negatives in video gaming is not like the violence or anything related to what's happening on the screen. It's how
Hmm.
you as an individual behave um, with that kind of entertainment. It's just it's the same thing with looking at a violent movie. Some people
Yeah.
say, oh, violence is directed to violent movies, and in some cases that can be true, and it's the same for video games. But it's not just an outlet for you to project all this negativity that you're thinking is coming from society. It's not it's not that at all. There's definitely more positives that outweigh the negatives, and just meeting friends through the game is how I've found that. So
yeah,
and yeah, but all right, Andrew, I appreciate you coming on, man. It's been super cool. We just like hanging out, dude. it's just like hanging out. So
it's pretty fun.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll have to get on Valheim and do some Viking survival. That sounds really cool.
Definitely, yeah.
Yeah, dude. But I appreciate you coming on, man. It's been super cool.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, thanks for coming on.